Are you ready to answer the age-old question, which isekai reigns supreme in a world filled with so many isekai anime? Well, after years of research, blood, sweat, and tears, we have finally figured out the answer. And, well, I mean, it may shock you. But as you know, we can't just give you the answer right away, that would be no fun. But let's talk a bit about isekai before we go ahead and give you the great reveal as to which one is the best of the best. The greatest isekai to ever live, hands down, no exceptions. But first, let me know what your favorite isekai is, because we do need to see if you were correct in the end. I mean, I'm kind of partial to Konosuba myself, I mean, all things considered. I mean, my first, model designs weren't at all based on some of those characters. And now, normally I'd bore you with the explanation of what is an isekai. It's going to a different world. We don't need to do that. There's so many videos on that. The genre is so overused, I don't think that there's any more explaining that needs to be done. But I think what more needs to be looked at is the subgenres of isekai. When you get into it, most isekais have a subgenre that it follows that generally branch off of the four greats, the isekai quartet, if you would. One of the first popular subgenres of isekai are the, well, isekai parodies. Is it going to be like Konosuba that goes in and it makes fun of the concept of an isekai? Is it going in and it's being like, oh, well, instead of having all these magical, wonderful powers, I came into this world with nothing. I came in here completely average. Is it going to be like Uncle from Another World? I came back from this crazy isekai world that, you know, I thought I was going to be normal in, but instead they treated me like an orc and they banished me and they tried to hunt me down. Or is it like Overly Cautious Hero? He goes in and he's so, well, overly cautious, you know, he trains himself to the absolute extreme that he's almost one-punch manning any villain that comes into the world because of it. And out of all the isekai subgenres, parody is honestly my favorite. I am a bit biased there, but don't worry, that won't be taken into account for the grand finale, so don't worry. But moving on to the next one, it's not really, I guess, a genre, but more of a plot device of I was isekai'd, but now I'm X. You know, I was human, but now I'm a vending machine. Now I'm Bone Daddy Ainz, or whatever. I'm a slime. I'm a sword. You know, I was changed into this. You know, the isekai trope of, oh, now I'm living in another world as a different race, a different species, something that I'm gonna have to live with, make decisions about. Generally, these wind up being more power fantasy isekai, so we can kind of loop that subgenre in there where it's like, ah, yes, Ainz is basically the most powerful creature on this entire continent, and he's gonna do pretty much whatever he wants. Rimuru from Slime starts off being super weak, but quickly, very quickly, grows into one of the most powerful beings, you know, in the entire world, with only a few exceptions. And with that, the list goes on. I'm a spider, so what? Starts off weak, grows extremely powerful. Vending machine. Very weak, grows extremely powerful, even as a vending machine. And these ones always interest me because it winds up always being more of a found family type story. You have a misfit creature or, you know, outcast that ends up making or finding or creating a family, creating a village, you know, gathering friends together. Well, I mean, probably outside of Ainz, he's a bit of an exception as he already has all of his underlings there with him. His is more a world domination point of view, but yeah, they can be his family now, I guess. And then a bit in the opposite direction of a found family, instead, you know, isekais that like to tear families apart, just so we're not stuck here for too long, we have horror-themed anime similar to Re:Zero. And these shows, the protagonist isn't really meant to win, per se, but more stave off death, or in Subaru's case, redo death until he gets the outcome he would like. And while a lot of these shows tend to have like a happier outcome, or have, you know, happy moments, like good stuff does happen, it's not just down and depressing episode after episode, they do have a bit more of a darker outlook on the isekai genre as a whole. And while this show will also appear in the next category, we do have shows in this genre like Rising of the Shield Hero, Ari Fureta, however you pronounce that show. I honestly trip up on that name every time I pronounce it. Shows where in the beginning the main protagonist is betrayed by friends or people that they believe are friends and kind of go on this like dark, little bit twisted journey trying to find themselves and end up kind of also creating that found family like we saw with the Overlord kind of category there. And honestly, with a lot of these, you'll see a lot of overlap. So these aren't, you know, black and white genres that each anime will stick into in particular, but more just kind of general concepts. And a few others in this genre would be ones like Alice in the Borderland or even Corpse Party. Yes, Corpse Party is technically an isekai. I mean, they're all dragged into another way worse world than their original one, where yeah, it's not too good based on the name. Who knows? Maybe that'll be one that we play at some point just to show everyone how bad this series is. And then for our final quartet genre, we do kind of have more, I guess, I don't know, it's kind of in a weird mix of power fantasy and revenge fantasy with the Saga of Tanya the Evil. Honestly, I love this one. And if you're a Tanya fan, you'll know the eternal wait that we have had to endure for the season 2 that keeps getting dangled in front of us like a, piece of cheese. It's like, yes, you're going to get that season 2 eventually, but you're never going to actually see it. I just hope we actually get that soon. I know they keep teasing it, they keep announcing it, then it's like delayed, it gets removed, I don't know, something like that. But in this world, a salaryman is reincarnated as a little girl into a World War setting where he's conscripted into the military and basically, affectionately, becomes lowly Hitler. But one of the overarching themes of this story is their revenge for wanting to get back at God for putting them into this twisted world in the first place. And that's where we see some overlap between like this show, Rising of the Shield Hero, Ari Feretta, like all those sorts of shows where the main character wants to get revenge for something that has been wrong to them by either someone that they thought was a friend or an outside entity. So maybe I should have saved some of the revenge isekais just for this part, because the only other one I can think of off the top of my head is Redo of Healer, which that show is oh, that show is something. Watch at your own risk if you do decide to tread down that route. But I feel like at least at this time, a lot of the revenge isekais are still just either light novels or manga, but who knows, with the rising of the genre, the rising of the revenge isekai genre, the new Shield Hero season, we might see those become a bit more mainstream, who knows. And while those are the big 4 of the Isekai Quartet, there are a few other honorable mentions I will just throw in very quickly. One of my personal favorite, which kind of falls under the parody genre, is the villainous subgenre of Isekai, where it's like someone gets reincarnated into an otome game as the villainous, or even like the mob one. And, they have to navigate these very insane worlds because usually the logic in otome games are very, like, way off to one side where it's just like, oh no. Oh no, how are we gonna get through this? How are they going to change the villainous characters? Because you usually have people that are like, oh, I'm a good person, but now I'm supposed to be evil? Oh no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm going to plan for my escape. I'm going to learn gardening so I don't have to die here. Or it's like, I'm gonna play up being a villainous, and then it's like, oh no, somehow people are liking you more because you're being more like straightforward and honest. You're not being an actual like bad person. Or one of my personal favorites that's getting adapted, I think later next year, is the OG-san villainous one, where the dad gets reincarnated as the villainous, but then he's like trying to be evil, but he keeps giving like parental advice that's actually helping out the main character, and it's like, I don't know, it's honestly hilarious. It's, that great mix of parody, maybe sometimes revenge, maybe sometimes horror, like depending on the series. It's a bit of everything. And the final one I will include, because I know a lot of people do like it, are the oops, I'm now in a video game isekais. And a lot of the ones in this genre will be like Log Horizon, where it's like, okay, yes, we're playing the MMO, it's about to shut down, or like Overlord. And it's like, all of a sudden, we're all now trapped in here, and we have to now learn how to live in a crazy digital world that's, plays more like a game than an actual fantasy world. Or like real life. Yeah, I mean, living normally in a fantasy world wouldn't be, different than real life. It would just be a different setting. And the great thing about this genre is you can throw stuff like Digimon in there. They're going to the digital world to get, Digimon, to raise, to grow them, to bring them to fight things that somehow happen in the real world. Oh, and I guess now thinking on it, I mean, the last genre, all those are video game isekais where it's like, all right, yeah, you're getting trapped in an otome game where everything is just wild and crazy. It plays more like a game than actual real life. And while I could keep going, I don't want this to be too long. I don't want it to be like, oh, well, and it's an isekai, they eat chocolate cake. And then there's an isekai where they, eat vanilla cake. And then there's an isekai where they don't eat cake. And, it just gets too over-bloated. This is probably already over-bloated as it is. And who knows, maybe me listing off all those random isekais stirred up a core memory as to which isekai is your favorite. So make sure to get those guesses in, as we are about to get to the true and honest, real best isekai to ever live. And if you've already guessed the correct answers down in the comments, I will accuse you of cheating. Because you want to know what it is? You want to know what the greatest isekai ever is? Oh, well, you're not ready for it. Best to close out of the video now while you can. Save your dignity. Because the greatest isekai to ever be created back in 2007, was Cory the House, yes! the American television sitcom Cory in the House that followed Cory Baxter from That's So Raven. Got him, you guys just got Cory in the House. In this great isekai, Cory Baxter gets uprooted from That's So Raven and gets teleported to a different world in which he's the son of the White House's executive chef. Oh my gosh, people that were in the anime sphere back in 2017 are going to kill me. But now that it's been announced, we have to run with it. The story of Cory in the House follows the titular character, Cory Baxter. Or the character Cory Baxter, born in Detroit shortly after his birth, he's kind of along with his family to the White House, where he lives for 8 long years. During this time, Cory lives as the son of Victor Baxter, the White House executive chef, and he trains himself. And in those 8 years, Cory trains and betters himself to overcome his past antagonistic villain status from That's So Raven. He slowly gathers and befriends Newt and Mina, who prove to be valuable allies who help him better himself, so he can fight off the evil stickman, whatever his name is, who is Cory's main antagonist in the That's So Cory House, Cory in the House. I'm forgetting the name even while I'm talking about it. Cory in the House universe. And while the show was cut short, only having 2 seasons, only spanning from January of 2007 to September of 2008, Cory in the House is one of the world's greatest isekai animes to ever be created. The world wept when Cory in the House was finally canceled. Critics said that Cory is a true American hero. He is better than JoJo, Dragon Ball, or Naruto. Some even say that at his power level, Cory should have become the next Hokage instead of Naruto, but he had to gracefully bow out so he could rule the universe. Cory saves his country on a weekly basis, and they even reminisce on how he stopped a potential conflict with Russia by having a dance-off with the Russian president. A true American hero. Some critics at the time called Cory in the House just basic anime garbage for filthy weeaboos who don't appreciate true Japanese culture, and that it didn't accurately display Japanese ideals. And they referenced other anime such as Seinfeld to be the true and honest best depiction of this. But they truly did not understand the weight of their sins in calling out Cory in the House as just being basic. But little did they know that Seinfeld was the basic anime garbage and Cory in the House is the true supreme anime. And while I could go more in depth on the story, I don't want to spoil it, but I mean, if that didn't draw you in, I mean, look at the graphics on this show. Absolute god tier. They make stuff like the sword attacks in Demon Slayer look like child's play. The entire episodes of this show are made out of Sakuga. It's just non-stop beautiful animation, one scene after another. Clearly some master animators worked on this series, and it's a shame that more recognition isn't given to this show's animation stylings. Some even say that Studio Ghibli movies look like they're made in MS Paint when compared to Cory in the House. And don't even get me started on the OST for Cory in the House. It's like sugar to my eyes with how beautiful it is. And you'll have yourself humming the opening theme to Cory in the House non-stop for weeks on end. I don't even dare share it here on YouTube because it'll corrupt your brain and make you only think of Cory in the House for the next year to come. Okay. Oh my gosh. I can't keep doing this. I had to take so many takes of that because I just kept laughing at just how ridiculous this is. But there you have it. Cory in the House is the best isekai anime to ever exist, and you can't convince me otherwise. You can try, but you will never succeed in uprooting this argument. I was debating in the beginning throwing in a few curveballs by leaving it on like a haha Madoka Magica is the best even though it's not an isekai. And I was like, yeah, I don't think that would work too well. But I mean, it would kind of fit with the whole theme of this video. But I hope you all enjoyed. I wanted to make something that was a bit more lighthearted, just like a fun kind of weird anime video to kind of kick us off into a bit more anime content here on the channel. It won't all be kind of shit posty like this. We will have some more like serious ones where we just kind of talk about different shows and stuff like that. But yeah, this is just a way to kick us off. But thank you so much for coming out today, party members, and thank you to all the new party members that have been joining us recently. And a huge thank you to our Platinum Adventurers, Nikki Muffin and Nobody Special, as well as our Gold Adventurers, Ivan Cabrera, Cameron Clark, Rain, Leonardo Cornelio, Zemasik VT, J Jbug1997, Red Dino, Michia, Here is Kyoko, Peely King Yeet, and Icy Bara for joining us on our channel membership. If you'd like to join as well, there is a join button down below where you get, these videos early, emotes, tons of other fun stuff. So definitely check that out if you are interested. But I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this one up here. Thank you again so much for watching, everyone. My name is Haven, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.